podcast number 11. Today I have with me Arkadin from Level Up Together, Tiber as always, and my boy Panshui. And let's have them introduce themselves. And we'll start with Tiber, then we'll go Panshui, and then Arkadin. We'll just go from the opposite way around there. All right, Tiber, take us off.
What's up, guys? I'm Tiber. I'm also known as ASMR Epic 7 / Pokemon main retired Pogyu. It's always a pleasure to be here. There's a lot of exciting stuff, and I'm happy to chat with friends. Pleasure to be here.
Panshui.
Hello, my name is Panshui, and I'm an E7 streamer. I mostly stream Guild Wars and RTA. You may know me with my jungle hair and long, scuffed rat tail, and always wearing tank tops. But that's it. What's up?
Hey, I'm Arkadin from Level Up Together. I usually stream during the week with my wife, and we're doing okay. We're almost top 100, which is actually way better than last time I was on the podcast. So we're finding our way up. We're moving our way up. But yeah, glad to be here, man. Thank you for inviting me to do it.
Thank you guys, all of you guys, for being here. All right, and a comment from chat says, Linlin says, please make bed first, Panshui.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well,
It's always messy.
let's get started here.
Zoom call put him in the beach.
Gonna be quick ones. We're gonna go through some of these pretty quickly. Wait, what? A Zoom call? Where? Who?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. We're gonna go through some quick ones here, and then. So I guess what I'm planning today, a little bit more chill of a podcast. Much more lax, I think. I guess we'll burn through the topics real quick, and we'll just talk about it's gonna be general open topic and kind of chill chat thing. So first topic today, thoughts on ML Haste. First of all, who has ML Haste here except for me? Tiber. Okay. Thoughts on ML Haste, I guess. So we have two people who don't have and two people who has. So good ratio here. And so thoughts, guys. What are your thoughts?
So first of all, that for those that don't know, I did pull ML Haste from one Mystic Summon.
What?
From 200 to 199. One tapped him from a Garo Mystic Bookmark shop because I wasted all of mine on aesthetic. But
This luck sack.
For those that weren't aware, that was a good moment. But ML Haste is very strong. We saw him pop up in the tournament, and it was a pleasure to watch and cast on as well.
Mm-hmm.
We saw in particular how strong he may be against Arbiter Vildred, but for people who know how to play around kids who understand the core mechanics, things like Rowell or other sources of revive, ML Haste struggles against a real player because they can just bait out the mechanic. They can deny you your contents.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't revive, you don't have your shield, and then you just have a dud unit. Whereas Rowell can just S3 use the revive on an alive unit to get a burst heal and invincibility.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as against AI-controlled opponents like Guild Wars, there are particularly strong comps that some friends of I have tested in mock RTA that are particularly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing one out there, like Charles A. Vildred FCC has been plaguing high-end Guild Wars for quite some time. One potential comp for those that don't want to just Dark Orbis cheese it with DC Fire Akade's Maya is Bisar Surmia Blood Moon Haste, for example. You can deny the FCC, make her a dud unit. You can just kill the Charles if he's on Holy Sack. Then you just get an amazing shield, which is 60% of his max HP. So if you have a 30k HP ML Haste, which is nigh impossible, that would be an 18,000 damage shield, which is just insane.
Yeah, the shield is crazy.
Yeah, any revive, it just it's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you can snipe the Vildred right after with Haste S3 even, which if you have it on portrait will deal substantial amounts of damage. The CC
True
barrier
damage
is going to be gone. True damage, yes.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It ignores defense, and it's similar to Dark Corvus's mechanic. It's you know how much damage it should deal, based on your build. Which, if you're on Portrait at high HP, can be around 11,000, with max S3 stuff like that, which is pretty handy. So that's a fun comp. Like if Charles is on Elbrus, then he's just dead forever. If Charles is on Holy Sack, then you win even more. So it removes a lot of the variability from.
So it removes a little bit of worrying stuff. I mean, in that case, then technically you could also bring ML Haste against stuff like you also see a decent amount of Holy Sacrifice crowds in Guild Wars, right? So you eliminate the possibility on the it's like a safety net where if ML Crow, or sorry, ML, did I just say ML Crow? Shoot. When Crow revives with Holy Sacrifice, right, you can, protect whatever unit and hope to God Crow doesn't nuke your unit to oblivion kind of thing. But, yeah, opinions from you guys. Well, I swear you had ML Haste arc. Wait, what unit did you one tap from Covenants?
That was Judge Kisei, which I've been using a lot, actually, which has been really nice. But no, the one, I don't know. I got really, really close there. We did a stream a while back where it was like right around my birthday, and a whole bunch, like just several $100s were donated to go like, get these mystics, let's go. We're like right here. And I was like, okay. So we started doing the mystic pulls, and we got like within 25 or 24 of them, and the server went down.
What? Wait, when was this?
It was done. We tried. This was for Spectre Tenebria right before ML Haste. And so I've been sitting here on about 20 to 22 trying to decide like ML Haste or wait till the next one. Now that I know it's Ruel and I don't have Ruel, I'm definitely going to wait. Because for my account, Ruel is just way more consistent across the board of a character to not have. Like, it just makes sense for me to wait for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, honestly, the only ML Haste I've gotten a huge amount to see was really from the tournament. And I have to agree with Tiber. I think like it seems to work really, really like decently when it comes to RTA and having like the ability to actually fight against something. But you couldn't I'm assuming most people aren't playing that on defense, right? Like, because you can kind of play around it completely. So your best chances that you're going to get are Guild War offense. And then, like, are there arena teams that people are building around?
I haven't seen a single ML Haste on defense at all. Like, arena Guild Wars, I haven't seen or heard of anything. Like, because I feel like if you see an ML Haste, it's like you just know you don't bring a revive. If you don't bring a revive kind of thing on your offense team, you nullify, like, his most threatening, I would say, of his skills. Other than that, right, his skill 3 is a long cooldown. Skill 1 strips buffs, but it doesn't do that much damage. So it's just, I just don't think it's possible to see it, or until someone decides to try it for fun, I guess. But yeah,
I guess to answer, I'd say as much as I've seen him, he seems good, but I'm not going to put him over Ruel in my book, so I'm probably going to pull for Ruel.
Fair enough. Panshui?
For what I have to say about ML Haste. So the thing about ML Haste is that he only works in a controlled environment. So you have to be able to use him. He has a very good niche. He works really well versus revivers, but he is still not exactly like a 100% definitive like answer to Arbiter Bildred or Ruel, just because then there's so many ways. Like, you have to play really aggressive using haste. Otherwise, if you play too passive, he doesn't really exactly do anything, and the fight might actually be not in your favor. Another thing is, we already know that debuffers are up and rising. He does look very good, but I've seen him. So based on what I've seen, I had actually just went against some guy in RTA. I ran Arbiter Vildred and made Chloe versus him. And I had like just like Dizzy and all that stuff. It's like, he does pop off, but he only pops off only if I draft purposefully into his ML Haste and not banning it. It's like one of those things.
But then does it force you? Did it force you to ban the ML Haste, or did you leave it there?
I left it there just to see it. But necessarily, if anything, it would force it out, because then that basically means I'm leaving one unit to counter 2 of my units, which is not good.
Yeah.
And in the draft perspective, if 2 of my units are going to be weak against one of his units, then I have to ban it out. Otherwise, I would lose the match.
So, like, if anything, like, I guess, like, in that sense of where like ML, like as you said, right? ML Haste is very good in that niche aspect that he does. He does very well in that niche aspect, but he's not like an overall neutral OP character that that people will pick all the time. Like for example, like Fallen Cecilia, where she's just all rounder, like good unit to pick overall, right? So it's very situational kind of thing. And the other thing though, I feel like is as much as I like using ML Haste in Arena, ML Haste is good against Mei Chloe, Rowana, and Arbiter Vildred, but I feel like, ML Ravi, but I feel like against Ruel it's a different story because Ruel is a controlled unit for the revive. It's a lot different. Like, you don't have to revive. You can just use the skill 3 on someone else to heal them. You can also not burn your skill 3. You can soul burn and whatnot. Like, Ruel's a lot different. But with Mei Chloe, I think Mei Chloe's like biggest aspect is her skill 3. Attack buff, revive, right? If you have ML Haste there, it kind of forces you to not use skill 3 there. Otherwise, you're like enabling ML Haste if he's around. So I feel like against revive, even against revive units specifically, like it's not, ML Haste isn't good against every single revive unit available. Well, Ruel is kind of like the only one, I guess, right now so far. But
yeah, and now that you bring up Ruel again, like exactly what Ark was saying, like for those that have Mystics right now and are debating whether or not to pull, I think the general consensus from us four is like Haste is good, he's niche, does his job well. But Ruel is so
I think Ruel is one of those units that we know it's like overall it's just a good pick. We saw in the tournament Ruel is like such a strong pick from every top player, especially when geared well. It's just so strong. But
well, that only speaks to that was only speaking to RTA, and in RTA she was really, really strong picked. Like she was like a strong picker ban, right? Like what about all the times you use her for offense in Guild Wars? And like, I mean, oh my gosh, the uses for that girl are just like all
everywhere.
Over the place.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's so good. Totally different style of character.
All right. So good consensus. ML Haste, a good unit in what he does, but if you don't have Ruel, chat, make sure you guys pull for Ruel. All right. Topic number 2. I don't have this unit. Didn't pull for this unit, so I don't know. I can't say too much about him, but thoughts on Ray. How many of you guys have Ray, actually? How many of you guys pull for Ray?
I tried, didn't get.
Wait, what?
I tried and didn't get. I got the doctor's bag.
Doctor's trash bag?
Oh, no.
You got the doctor's bag.
That's like worse than having football, dude. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Okay. Wow. Wait, how many summons did you try for Panshui? Like, I guess you didn't bother going for pity?
I mean, it was a reminder of all those times when I kept on pulling for every other banner, but I always get either the trash artifact or an off-banner artifact. This time I didn't get Ray. I tried about probably 40 times or 50 times, I think.
Huh.
Wasn't too much, but I burnt everything.
Oh, okay. So the only one here that has Ray is Tiber. So, have you built up Ray to use him at all?
I have not, admittedly. I will this weekend. I've been preoccupied with Valorant.
What? Oh, okay.
But Valorant's down, beta has ended, so I'm free. But to first talk about Doctor's, what did you call it? Doctor's trash bag?
Yeah, Doctor's trash bag.
For those that aren't aware, I don't know if you want to pull up the text, but if I'm correct, it activates once per battle, correct?
Once per battle. And it takes 3 turns to activate?
I don't know, Chief. Like, that is very clearly, in my opinion, geared towards PvE, obviously, in their intention from the balanced design.
Yeah.
But for Dispellers, you get Momo from Connections, right? She's a 3-star. She's really easy to use. Like, I don't know. I see absolutely no use whatsoever for Doctor's Bag. The art's nice. It's a nice, heartwarming, calm, relaxing picture. Sure. If you care about the Pokedex.
It is good art for what it's worth. Good art, but yeah, beyond that.
It's cute, yeah.
Yeah.
So garbage.
Yeah.
So I talked to Xnon because I actually asked if I was like, hey, you pulling this? He's like, yeah, I'm gonna pull. I'll build it. I'll let you know what I think and go from there. Is it possible for me to post a link to a picture in your chat? So they can
Yeah,
take a
go
look?
for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so I think this pulls it up. So this is his Ray, and he uses this Ray in like top champ into legend for auto comping, basically to take the place of DJ Bassar and or so if you build him like specifically, you'll notice he has a ton of effect resist. And if you build it that like semi-slow, lots of effect resist, has to have at least enough beef to not die immediately, and you're doing it in arena, not RTA, you could potentially use it for an auto comp and essentially run and do a similar thing, but you're getting heals instead of push from your Ray. It's not bad. Like, it's usable.
Yeah. Let me read out these stats real quick for people that won't be able to see on the YouTube video. But the Ray has 1.7k defense, almost 11k HP. I'll round it up, 11k HP, 203 speed, and 223 effect resistance, running Water's Origin, plus 30. So that's a lot of effect resistance on that Ray. So, interesting. That's
if you get taunted, you're pretty screwed, right? Like, so you're basically in this position where you need to be able to at least get that S3 off. But if you get the S3 off, you can kind of turn the tide in some of those auto comp battles.
That's interesting. Okay. I didn't think about using him in auto comps, but I can see against certain teams that can be useful, taking a similar role as DJ Bassar in that sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things is like, I have a lot of Soul Weavers. I feel like, even though Ray, I feel like he's a decent unit, I guess like I just never, I didn't feel like pulling for him. I don't know. I guess like for me, it just didn't feel like it would make a huge impact on my teams right now. There's so many other units, like as Tiber said, that I could use probably that does like a similar role, like Momo free unit. But
Destina to some degree.
Yeah, Destina is to a similar degree. Granted, Ray might be a little bit better in certain aspects with immunity and whatnot, but like they each have their own like pros and cons kind of thing. So, okay, that's interesting.
As the resident RTA player, Pan, like, what do you think about Ray given the increase in debuffs as of late?
The thing is like I haven't seen any situation where I would use them myself. And I haven't really said to myself where it's like, okay, in this draft, I would like to have Ray. The first thing I think about is like, okay, you know what? They have a lot of debuffers. I bring in Champion Zerato and I bring in Momo. What are they going to do? It's just like, it's that. If a role to me, for some reason, just feels too easily replaced, I don't think it's actually a good idea to really pull for him unless you're treating him as though he's like a husbando. You really like him, you really want him, and you don't like Momo. Then by all means. But I think he's okay in some circumstances. His immunity will probably help you out the most, just because in any kind of battle, having immunity for there basically means that you could stall out turns for you to actually do something. But then it wouldn't work really well versus mages that have eyeless violet. And that's basically it.
So what if you were a brand new player today and you had none of the characters, but Ray was the first banner that you ever saw in Epic 7? Do you pull for it then?
You skip.
I feel like personally, I don't think he'll do much for new players. I feel like personally,
too much mole investment.
Too much mole investment. You don't need him for like PvE at all because you have other characters for PvE. And by the time you use him for PvP, I feel like you get into PvP, you have other characters you'd rather use at that point in time, probably new banners and whatnot, other characters built up. I don't feel like it's worth a new player investment. Yeah, I personally would skip that too.
I think to point out is that for new players, you really don't want to be working on units that require Molagoras.
Yeah,
you always want to work on units that don't actually use it, but you can actually farm for it. And most of the units that you can already acquire is going to be from connection, or it's just going to be just 3-star units where you could just easily rack up. Molagoras nowadays, the way that they're used, sometimes they're just used for the usability of the character up to the cooldown. But in more of a competitive standpoint of using it for Guild Wars, Arena, or RTA, you use it more for a min-max like thought process instead of actually trying for just usability.
I think, yeah, like the thing is, like, any new players should never be investing molas into units for PvE, unless they can be used for PvE and PvP kind of thing. And like damage, like for example, is Sigret good for Wyvern 13? Extinction, you can use it, in Guild Wars a lot, that kind of thing. I think Sigret's worth it, kind of thing. But like, like as Panshui says, like we have Adventurer Raz, great unit now for PvE. Falconer Clury, we've always had her. Commander Lurina, we have her. Right, so you have your damage dealers, you have Momo as your healer, you have your knights. You have like a full team comp of 3-star specialty change. You don't need as a new player. That's the thing, which is huge now.
That's a good
And
point.
it's especially because like the playstyle that Ray has and the way his kit works is just so similar to the way Momo works in terms of mindset that like use the free unit. But for the premiums, like if we're comparing him to DJ Bassar, who is his like most like his closest relative.
Yeah.
DJ Bassar has Tamarin stats. It's absurdly high attack. It's like 1k, something like that. So having very high defense, base defense, as well as the innate 30% resistance makes it easier for you to gear him the way you want and play this sort of reactionary play style. But like again, sort of the TLDR as unique. Well, not unique. It's copy pasta. As
a good unit, if you don't have the others that do a similar role, and you're mid game / close to end game focusing on PvP now, then in that specific circumstance, I think Ray would be a good pull for you. So I think those are my thoughts, kind of thing. Where you don't have Destina. For some reason on end you don't like Momo, and you don't have DJ Bassar, you don't have any of the cleansers kind of healers, those stuff, then I think that would be useful there. But okay. Speaking of cleanse and immunity, when I say cleanse and immunity, why use Ray when you can use the new exclusive on Vivian? Just do the same thing, cleanse, immunity, and then boom, wreck them. Okay, anyways, thoughts on new exclusive. Yeah,
I one-tapped it.
Smooth. Wait, what?
I one-tapped the EE with the cleanse with 14% HP.
God dang.
That's awesome.
It was nice. I'm happy.
Wow. All right.
I'll be using her soon.
So let's talk about new exclusives. We'll just go over Luluka real quick. I think we can all. Luluka's exclusive is just. I think it's good.
Wyvern 13.
Yeah, but it's pretty much for Wyvern 13. I think both are usable, whether it's the extra 15% chance or the 35% chance for dual attack, extra attack. I think most people are going to use the 35% just to use the RNG just to get the extra damage off, extra chance if they're running like Siren or something, but I don't know. Thoughts?
You're getting two 50% chances plus the double damage at a third of the time or more on that one EE. You're only gaining 15% on a 50%, so you're getting 165% chance as opposed to 250% chances plus damage. I feel like it's like, I would say if it was me, I'm probably just going for the 35% across the board. But I don't know. What about you guys? Would you do it different?
No, I agree. I think that's definitely the right mindset to have, 100%. I don't think it's something to tear your hair out. Like if you get either of the skill ones, especially if you're a newer player, I would just say, you know what, it gets the job done. I'm happy with it. I'm going to save my currency to get other EEs that I need, or roll for better EEs for the characters that maybe are a bit more impactful, or get like a max limit broken violin. I think those are important things to keep in mind. Even though the currency, I think, is pretty well balanced right now in terms of what you gain per week. If you're a newer player and have missed, all of the rotations that have come and gone, that's a good mindset to have. But I agree. Like typically, you're going to have another armor breaker anyway for consistency, like Terran or Guard. So double damage at a rather significant proc chance, and the extra chance on break. I think the second EE is the best, hands down.
Yeah. Okay. Good consensus. All right. Well, let's talk about Vivian here. Let's hear first, Panshui, what do you think about Vivian in RTA already? Just tell people what you know and what you've seen, because I think some people, well, some people might not know. Most people should know, but
I wouldn't say I have seen. Okay, I have seen, but I haven't went against one. Probably just because then I don't normally run debuffers. But the way that she works is that she's very aggressive, and she typically holds on to her like immunity. Most of the time you're using her as though she's like a replacement to like a DN or like a mid Chloe, but in more of aggressive manner. Her fallback was mostly just because of Bazaar. Every single time you see Bazaar, it's just like the cancerous thing that you would actually see. People would assume that her new EE would actually save her from that situation, but it actually doesn't. Just because then we still forgot about that. Even though there is unbuffable, there's a CR pushback with the chance of Abyssal Crown.
Yeah.
So there's like, it isn't exactly too much, but I think she's very strong versus like the other debuff counterparts like Tenebria or Dizzy or even like SSB, right?
So I think yeah, that's like a big thing is like if you have a good Vivian built with immunity and they have no way to strip it, then she can help cleanse your team, make your cleanse viable, like your team, viable again, not just like to stun to oblivion or CC to oblivion. And then on top of that, she can also do damage. So like, I think one of the biggest weaknesses of Vivian before was, even though she was a strong unit and we would see her here and there, after her skill 3, she leaves herself kind of open, I feel like.
I think
a little bit too open.
To continue on that, it's more on the fact that she could only be on a singular build, which was the problem. She had to be declared to be the fastest unit in your entire team in order to set up immunity. If she is considered to be too slow, let's say, for example, if somebody runs a fast Dizzy, what is she going to do? Like, speed tuning starts coming in a very specific order. But because now she has a cleanse on her S3, maybe there's like some way where, like, if there is a unit that does shut her down that is not Bazaar, for example, then you can actually choose to build her a lot slower, right? You don't need to exactly build her to be very, very fast. Right?
Yeah. I think like the two E's, like I can honestly say both of Vivian's exclusives are useful, like in the sense that 50% combat readiness boost is good in itself, because like if you're running a team that helps boost after Vivian, she can probably get her turn a lot quicker and do that damage and nuke a lot quicker there. So it allows for a lot more options now for Vivian. You're definitely right in the sense that she's not limited to just one build now.
Right, yeah. And like one of the best artifacts that we have seen on her is Dignus Orb, which is her own artifact that gives 120% of her attack as a barrier to herself. So like if we're talking, violin mages on the enemy team, you have from one skill 3 buffs on your fast unit. So let's say she pushes herself up. She goes from immunity to immunity. She pushes herself up. She has a shield. She has attack buff. And she's about to lay down a significant nuke. And she's providing both a threat as well as team utility, which is great. But also, like, as Panshui said, like extreme utility diversifies the way that you can build it as well. It's really cool. I like it.
All right. I'm guessing, do you use Vivian at all, Ark?
I don't, but I actually was thinking she might find, I mean, you'll have to speak into this. It sounds like you guys are saying, depending if you're using her already, maybe, but the first thing I thought of when I saw the two, I mean, obviously the S1 one is just pretty you're not using that one, but the two S3 ones, it basically said to me right off the top, oh, so you're diversifying how fast I can build my Vivian, depending on which EE I get. That's kind of cool. I like that. You're adding a little diversity to the way that you can play the character. Because when we saw it in RTA prior, the people that were doing it in in the cup, they were just like all fast. The whole point was like, get it up fast, get that immunity, get that attack buff, and then nuke somebody as fast as you can. Whereas now you have the options to build them really fast, mid-range like a DJ Bazaar, or and I'm not going to take any credit for this. Callie in the chat actually came up with this and was telling me this and showed it to me earlier today. And I thought, wow, this is actually really interesting. Was a Oxlots Vivian Iseria Tam comp for Arena. The idea being, if you use the 50% increase, you can actually boost your Vivian, make a really slow, heavy attack, heavy crit damage Vivian. You're able to boost with the Oxlots, get 100%ed, get greater attack buff on yourself, have Iseria do her thing, get somebody with an attack or defense down and unbuffable, do the 50%. You know how Tam Iseria works, yada yada yada. You get your other 50% from Tam because Tam boost. Suddenly with the Max Mola S2 on your super like chonky Vivian, she's now a cleaver that has greater attack buff within first turn. That's disgusting. Like, it's a lot of speed tuning. Can new players to mid-tier players put that out? No, but that's pretty cool. Like, I thought that was kind of interesting to think like, oh, you could actually build it as like a really like beefy cleaver, like you might build a Shermie or you might build like a Eufine or something. So that was kind of, I don't know. I just love the diversity that these new EEs kind of added to your ability to play Vivian, even if all of those aren't fully usable in RTA or anything else. There's just a lot of content around where you're actually going to find some use, which is pretty cool.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess a combo like having like a slow Vivian, like, oh, my chair. Ooh. Sorry. It enables like a slow Vivian that can actually nuke pretty hard. I see in chat Eska says, Korean player did that to me, Jabami with a slow Oxlots. Vivian went first, skill 3, then Oxlots boosted her and I got cleaved. And Eska's a legend RTA player, so I guess in that sense, it does get a little bit scarier then. All right. Okay, so EEs. And let's talk about this. Oops, I didn't capitalize this. But thoughts on ML Tiberia? What do you guys think? What do you want to see in her? And I guess I'll just include this part, not just ML Tiberia, but like we'll talk about the new adventurous path and like that stuff. And then we'll talk more about, we'll just lead into more of the kind of like the data, not really data mine, but the leak stuff, not leak stuff, no. The preview stuff that they kind of showed us. But first of all, what are your guys' thoughts on ML Tiberia?
I mean, so like, there's a couple things that immediately went through my mind when that silhouette was leaked. First of all, for those that weren't here from the beginning of the game, Tiberia used to be one of the hard carries of everyone's teams, everywhere.
Yeah.
She was an armor breaker. She had max HP scaling. She had combat readiness push, and then she got nerfed to the ground.
Yeah.
She was part of the Holy Trinity. It was of Elson and Ricarus. It was a time. It was a time to be alive. But on that note of being more accessible through the adventurous path, it definitely seems to be like, the thing in my mind is, okay, this has to be something that will help newer players get into the game, similar to Momo, and how she works.
That's what they said
Momo
too.
a connection. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. What I personally wish to see is a new mechanic of any kind. Like even an ML Leo, screw it, an ML Leo kind of new mechanic. As meme as he is, as bad as he is, it's something different. It's not just a rehash. Like, you can see the copy pasta from DJB to Ray. Like, it's just something new is all I'm asking.
It's gonna be a copy pasta from Commander Lorena, dude.
That would be literally the laziest thing they could do, to do it Lorena into Tiberia. Like, oh my god.
I hope not.
Except you had to Mola this unit.
I'm curious on the skill kit.
Wait, she's a 4-star confirmed?
Yeah, she's a 4-star confirmed.
She's a 4-star.
Bro,
she's a Moonlight 4. And like the thing is, like they said on the post, like, we'll be giving, like, ML Tiberia is supposed to help new players. From what I saw, remember from the post from the English stream. And also for the people in chat who missed this, she's not from Adventurer's Path, right? Yes, she's a Connection ML 4-star.
Ooh.
Yes. So there was a mistake on the official Epic 7 English stream. They showed her in the Adventurer's Path, and right, we all thought you were getting her for free from Adventurer's Path, but you actually have to get her from Connections. So they corrected that. There was a post thing. Sorry, there's a error.
Forbid we gate it behind anything. Like, you should just get it for free. Like, guys, was it really tough content to get through chapter 2? Like,
Yeah.
Connection. It's not
So,
that bad.
I mean, like, one of the things is, like, I'm curious what skill kit they give her, because, right, that's the thing, right? She's a chapter 2 hero. So usually I would say by the time you're getting in chapter 2, you're starting to do a lot of PvE content. I don't know if you'll really need her, but some people might just grab her for waifu reasons. Skill 3 looks great. The character looks great. I think, like, aesthetically pleasing. I quite like it, but I just don't know how useful she'll be. But so it really depends on her skill kit there. But on that note, I guess we don't have a lot of information about her yet. But
if they had to copy pasta to any character that you've seen, because there's a lot of them that you can see the copy pasta to.
yeah.
Like running between 3s and 5 stars, depending, like you'll see a bunch. Who do you want to see? If you were like, man, that's a 4 or a 5-star that like is so unique on its own right now. Can we make a baby version of that? Like that would be, or that could be a 4-star. Like, is there one right now that you could even think you'd like to see that done on? I'm just trying to think of like other 4-stars. The only 4-star that initially comes to mind, because I hear everybody talk about it constantly on our stream because of Itzyber, is CDOM. Where I'm just like, there's not a lot of CDOMs, not a lot of things that can do CDOM things, but could Tierra even do that? Would it matter?
I don't know if you can give a mini CDOM, because CDOM's like skill kit is really just, she has a CR boost and 50% crit rate, the crit rate buff, and then the soul burn is just really what like she nukes. So I don't know if they'd be willing to give you that hard of a nuke. Like, they give you a baby nuke, but once you give a baby nuke, then it's kind of like on the level of Lorena again.
Why try to give a downgrade?
No. I'm not saying for me. I mean, I guess it would be really cool. I kind of agree also with what Tiber was saying too. It would be really cool if they add a new mechanic, and if that new mechanic is so well thought out that it actually ends up being something where every player is now on the same page with a new unit, and it's actually changed something in the game in a huge way. That would be really cool. We haven't seen a lot of that. There has been a lot more like, this happens here, let me put that on this character, I'll give you this one from this one. We're just like picking apart individual characters and just like slapping them into new units, going like, this one will fix that problem. Like, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like, but that combo didn't work, let's try a different one. As opposed to like something totally new that was really well thought out, that was like, this is going to be actually game changing, and every person wants to go through all of the story, all the connection to get to this moment, to pull this character. It would be really cool. Highly unlikely, but man, Smilegate, I'm rooting for you. I think you have the ability. Nobody's seen what the abilities do yet. You can change everything.
Yeah, your mic went a little staticky near the end there, but
I think that, yeah, Smilegate did that.
Whoa! Damn, throwing some shade.
I love it.
All right.
Is it bad? Is it still bad, or is it fixed?
Yeah, it's still going. Still hearing that kind of staticky bit.
That's weird.
While you're trying to fix that, we'll start going to open chat. Yo, I gotta be honest. That quality of life ice cubes.
Check. Hey.
Nope, still staticky.
Damn.
Wait, say something again. Oh.
I'll just try again. Sorry.
Hey, we move.
We move again.
We move.
We move.
No. You're back. I promise.
I still hear it. Do you guys still hear it?
Is it super bad? I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It just suddenly happened. It just suddenly happened. It's happened in Discord a bunch lately? Really? Oh.
Yeah, that's happened to me in Discord before too.
Huh.
Oh.
Well, I can keep trying. I can disconnect again if you want, or fully shut it down and come back. I just don't want to ruin anything for you.
Yeah, no worries. Go for it. It's gonna be an open topic, so we're just gonna be chilling and chatting for a little bit now. But all right, and we all move again.
Hey.
Anyways, while that's happening, let's just talk about the stuff. All right, let's talk about one thing here. Buffs with the buffs coming out. Who do you guys want to see being buffed?
Yo, I want justice. I want justice for my girl Fire Araminta. All right.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? Y'all haters. All right. She's waifu as heck. Waifu as heck. She needs to be OP. All right, please.
You like her leg?
You
like her leg, bro.
God dang it.
I want something extremely impactful. Like, I remember the Fire Corvus era, and like as toxic as people, considered that time of the game, it was a random 4-star that nobody knew about, that no one cared about. And all of a sudden, he was everywhere, and he was so viable. He was so strong. Like, whether or not you enjoyed that time, like, it was still amazing how powerful a buff can be.
Mm-hmm.
So just anything like that happening again would be great. I do think more 3-stars and more 4-stars need to be more powerful. Like, they had such great momentum with Momo SC coming out, just dominating the new like Guild War meta, especially on offense, being so ridiculously strong. And SC Ross is a homage to that. Like, but those are few and far between. Like Helga, how many of us have used her?
Yeah, I haven't done her specialty change.
How dare you? She's the Dragonborn elf. All right.
Sorry.
She deserves your respect, Gabe.
Sorry. Welcome back, by the way.
Yeah, is this better? It's probably still.
Fuck!
Yeah,
Music to my ears.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
I wish I knew the answer, but so far it's just been a Discord thing because it doesn't do it like with stream or anything, which is really weird.
Yeah, I remember that happened too. Like that was a level up cup, and like it's kind of funny. Yeah, stream was fine, but like all we heard was our like.
Never do that again, Gabe.
Sorry. Yo, I tried my best to imitate it.
What did I just hear? Oh my god.
Anyways,
can I get more what faces in chat?
Yes, stop it. Stop.
It's bro, dude. Bro's in the chat.
Stop. All right. All right. So speaking of which, right? Like, so like, Tiber went over that, but like, Arc, Panshui, you two, like, what units do you want to see buffed? Like, do you want buffed? I mean, I freaking knew that was coming. I was right about to say before you say ML Rin, and then you're like ML Rin. I'm like, okay. All right. So aside from ML Rin, right? Who else you want to see, Panshui?
Wow, that's actually kind of a loaded question, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, it kind of is, but it seems just like I don't know, just like, are there units you feel like or you want to see buffed, or do you feel like might need a buff, kind of thing? Same for you, Arc. Like whichever you guys.
Yeah, I'm like looking through my all the heroes right now, trying to decide who to, because I haven't really been thinking. I hate to admit this, but everybody probably knows it already. Anyways, I'm like such a meta slave that like I just don't care. I'm just gonna go play whatever's meta.
You just like ask someone, hey, what are the units right now?
I don't know. It feels bad because that's how like most games are, especially when you get to the competitive, like at the competitive level, which I wouldn't put myself necessarily there, but I want to be looking in that direction. And so because of that, I'm like, well, whatever's working, I'm going to play that. Like, what are people using that makes sense? How can I build those? And can I build those? I don't know. Let me look a little bit, be a little more thoughtful about it.
A-Tywin. I think everybody knows. We all want that A-Tywin buff.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like how I pulled him from Covenant.
Wait,
and
what?
How I pulled him out of my 30 ML summons in one stream.
Wait, you have 2 ML Tywins?
Yes, I have 2 ML Tywins. I don't know how. I just did. So
wow.
I pulled ML Tywin and Covenant from the free Covenant from the 70s. The 70 free ones that they gave us, and I got him from Covenant. Yeah. And afterwards, I kind of I was in like a dark area where, like a gray area where I really wanted Spectre. but I got no mystics. So I start burning all my moonlights to get Spectre. I didn't get it. I got ML Tywin instead.
Oh no.
And that
Feels
was
bad.
that ended my dry streak that I had since last year with ML Ball.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, my
just
story
weird.
is like I was during LQC's Mystic Banner. I was pulling with Yao in Discord chat
Mhm.
streams, streaming polls, and I got her quick. But I really, really, really wanted the artifacts to max limit break, so I did one more summon and got a dupe LQC as well. So
What about all the new 4-stars that got put into connections? Those are question marks for me. Like Kawazu, Kawana. Like, why are they even in the game? What's the point? Like,
Yeah, that's true. I
don't
haven't
know.
seen any use in them. That's true.
I'd love to see some use be brought out of them. But I mean, obviously ML Leo needs something, right? Like we were talking about that earlier. He just do something to make him relevant, even if it's another character that makes him relevant. Do something, because yeah, he's one of those two. Yeah.
Real quick, I see something in chat. Sorry, but someone's talking about stamina needs to be addressed. What are your guys' thoughts around with stamina there? So I'll just read this full thing out. Right, Limo says that stamina needs to be addressed. To be honest, quality of life buffs and Yukon is great, but meaning nothing if you can't play the game. I buy all the leaf packs every month. I'm stamina starved in like 3 days. The stat threshold for a unit to be viable drastically changed, and it's rough when you pay and still can't farm. It's obvious molar problems won't be fixed, but all the problems with compounding is really messing with players. So I feel like okay, so personal opinion, all right, personal opinion from me, I personally feel like I don't see nearly as big of an issue with stamina to me. The way I do it is, I still buy the leaf packs. I don't buy a lot of them, but I buy the leaf packs here and there. But I save up a lot of my stamina for when there's hunt buffs, so I'm not farming like crazily. I'm farming here and there, but I still farm a decent amount, I would say. But most of the time, it's just I have a lot of my stamina saved up in my inbox, and I just use them as they start running out. I'm buying the friendship stamina and stuff. Sometimes I won't farm super consistently, and the thing is, like, I think that's always where like there's going to be a dividing factor is whether it's someone who's super pay to win in the game, who's helping support and keep the game afloat, to players who are, small spenders / free to play people, who won't be farming as consistently. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like some of these things.
So I have relatively strong opinion on that as well, and I am in agreement with you. But in my mind, like there are 4 kinds of players, just generally speaking, in Epic 7. There are like the completely new early game, I'm on the grind players. And for those people, you're going to be ranking up and you're going to have so much stamina. You won't even know what to do with it. You'll be time gated in terms of like, you want to climb Abyss for the rewards because that's your good gear that you put on your DPS unit to clear more PvE content. And you have to wait real life days for that. Like stamina is not an issue for you as a new player. Then you go to the exact opposite end of the spectrum where there's whales. They're whales. They like no matter what it is, no matter what they change, they will always be spending and cashing for more. And if you make things easier, you're just going to increase the rift even more for those people, and they do exist, that spend many, many, many thousands of sky stones every day, every single day for a full year to get the gear that they have. Okay. And so that won't change it for them. And then there are the more competitive dolphins, or even if you're free to play but you're dedicated. And then there's the people who just, want to burn time, like you're a student in summer, for example, and you don't really have much to do. You want more time to play the game. That's why stamina feels rough. And these 2 are the demographics that are hit the hardest here. For people who are more competitively minded, I would say, as my advice, be more intelligent with your resources, like gold and stamina. Upgrade the pieces that are really good. Gold hasn't been an issue in recent times at all. But use your free energy and then just log out. Like there's no need to do stuff when it's not hunt events, buff events. When the buffs are up, then you go hard. You just release, let the dogs out, release the Kraken. Insert expression here. And there are also ways for people who are in love with the game to play more as well, and that's Eufine Labs. Like if you ever feel like you don't have enough to do, or you want to play Epic 7 more, or have something autoing in the background more because it feels like you're wasting your time otherwise, like, oh, I'm going to go mow the lawn, I want something to auto, let me just go down one lane and have that take 35 minutes, just going on the top lane of Nixie 2. It's just like, in my eyes, there's a good stamina balance no matter who you are in the game personally. There's always something you can do.
Okay. Oh, we have a good demographic here, I'd say. Well, actually, I think Arkadin says he recently bought a lot of leaf packs, but
well, that was. I don't think I'll do it again. But I will say on my side, I agree. I think it just depends on the style of player you're going to be, and I think depending on where you're like what your guild expectations are on you and everything else, you need to decide kind of like, can I manage what this guild's expectation is of me or not? And like where I've found myself personally is I've become less willing to spend because I know there's no catching up for me, because the people who are going to whale hard, they're whaling hard, and I'm not going to catch that. It's not going to happen for a long time. So my mind, I'm one of the people that are saving. I am one of the people that are waiting for the hunt events. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to play it out, and we're going to be cool with that. And I think honestly, that should be okay for most players. I just recently hit champion in RTA, which is probably the single only piece of content that requires tons and tons of gear other than GVG. And again, those same people that are sitting in Legend and everything else, those are those same people that probably are also doing really, really well in their guild wars as well, and are in those top guilds that have similar expectations. So it's to be expected that they would be ahead in that niche content. I guess what I'm getting at is not spending a whole bunch. You can still find yourself in RTA, find yourself being competitive, play with what you have. Like try to build the characters that you actually own, as opposed to the characters that you want to, or that you see your codes and your sucks and your jinx. If you can't build them, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like build something that works for your account, because you're going to be better off building characters that actually work for you than otherwise. And again, you're not competing on the same level. So stop pretending. You know what I mean? Like they're doing something very different every single day. They are willing, and I don't say willing like they're just like begrudgingly shelling out $100 a day. They're happily doing it. It's what keeps them where they want to be. They wouldn't do it if they didn't love it. And I think that's where, like, depending on where your threshold is on what you're willing to spend that. Like, and be okay with it. Don't try to compare. You'll never be able to compare to the person who's spending $100 a day. It's just not normally possible. You could get lucky, but in general, over time, lots of money spent, it's gonna be in their favor.
What are your thoughts, Panshui, from, especially considering the fact that you're in life, like, but
I mean, considering where I am right now, I am basically the competitive dolphin. But even then, as Tiber said, I'm basically part of that demographic where I don't exactly spend, but only mostly for monthlies. As far as how I'm actually keeping up with them, I still keep onto the mindset that I still need to improve my units, but I don't push it over the line where I have to start thinking about, like, I start ignoring about how usable the unit will be compared to how much I have to min-max it. Because the moment when I start thinking about the idea, like, of course, every single unit needs to be at their best, no matter what. But I can't neglect the fact that I also have to think about the usability of certain things that I'm getting, because everything is RNG and it's always based on the game of chance. If I start thinking about, like, oh, I need to look at this at the highest value, then of course I'm going to be in that. I'll have to be motivated. But at the same time, I feel like I'm in, if we're going to go back to, like, the talk about energy as of right now, right?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I'm actually stockpiling so much energy, and I'm just, like, paying for monthly.
Yeah.
At most of the time, like, every single month I just go for monthly. And then you should be able to efficiently allocate your resources as long as you know what your priorities are, right? You can be very efficient with how you actually spend your energy. It's just that if you really want to rush, if you attempt to rush things, that's where you're just going to end up being very disappointed about it. And especially for how long that some of us already played the game before. I played this game for almost like 19 to 20 months, like most of other veterans nowadays, right? I think you have to think about it that way, where you don't want to rush. You actually want to take your time, and eventually your progression will actually be there. It'll get there somehow, some way. Right? Small Gate will make sure that it'll just get there, whether that be through gear conversion or like you trying to be. You have to force some pieces into like I-90, right? As of right now, I'm holding on to enough energy. I'm waiting for buff events. I will be okay. I have about like 90 leaves that are just like given for us for free.
Yeah.
And I have like a load, like about like 30 energies saved up in the mailbox.
Not to mention the new web event. Sorry,
Yeah.
Smooth transition again. But to me, the new web event is actually really, really good. If you don't care about stigma, which you shouldn't be grabbing the stigma from that, if you're
600K, by the way.
If you're mid, I still don't even know how he has that much stigma. If you're a mid game player, you shouldn't be grabbing the phantasms. In my opinion, it doesn't matter as much nearly. Or if you're an end game player, I probably don't care about stigma, phantasms, gold. You'll get the gold anyways from farming hunts. You just load up on novels. Sorry, I just read Eska's comment. I mean, stamina. Dang it, Eska! You load up on stamina.
Gabe's an avid reader, you know?
Sorry. It's one of those things where, like, I'm mid-sentence, I'm like trying to read a sentence at the same time, and it changes the word. I'm just like, that didn't come out right, did it?
Hey man, it's okay to read, you know?
Anyways, yeah, so you load up on the stamina, right? So I'm just buying the stamina every single day. And right, it's 180 stamina. And if you get quote unquote unlucky with fighting big, you get even more stamina. And I'm just loading that up for the stuff. Technically, if you're really, really smart, you would actually have saved up all your like burning passions for stamina that you didn't need, and you just on the day of hunt event, just load up and collect all this then you redeem the stamina and burn through all of it for hunt events. But
oh yeah. I was gonna say too, one more thing to mention on that last piece you guys were talking about. There's ways, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's also ways like in Pan's case where he's like, I'm willing to spend this much. There's still ways to effectively and efficiently gear just as well as a top end player spending less than maybe the person who's spending the most, because if you're willing to change your gear out, have a DPS set, tank set, heal set, or whatever, and willing to change stuff out regularly. I mean, I don't know how exactly that looks at the highest level, but I know there's going to be some people who are going to have 90 sets on like tons of characters. They're not changing gear. They don't have to. There's 90s on everything. Then there's other people that are going to be like, well, I only technically have to bring in 6 characters at a time. And if I gear this, and this, I only need like 8 or 9 sets, and I can technically transfer them out all the time using gold. And since you said, like you were saying, gold's not as big of an issue, you can make that work right now too. So there's nothing necessarily stopping you from being cheaper to play and still playing at a really high level if you're willing to make the sacrifices of the changes and know what you're doing in those moments too.
I think if I were to like expand on that as of right now, what you're trying to like say is you just let's not go back to what you said, but the way that people are currently trying to gear up their units is that they try to gear up too many, but they're not trying to actually condense it to their most used units and the units that they use that they actually really need to gear up. If you were to be gearing up multiple units and you start like play testing it like everybody else with every new character that actually does come out, then of course you're going to be very inefficient, because we currently don't have enough gear for the amount of characters that are currently in the game. That is currently very unlikely that you're going to be able to actually gear up like 100 characters just to actually do this. in reality, what I actually have right now is I only have 20 units that I actually use in RTA.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like a very small pool, dedicated pool for like guild wars and whatnot. Like, I really don't have too many. You don't want to spread your gear thin. Is probably the best way to say it. You want to actually dedicate it to specific units first. Make sure that you get what you need and have what you need before actually going after what you want. And after that, it's smooth sailing. Once you have what you need, you don't really have to worry about anything. And then you can start gearing your waifus, your husbandos, and just play whatever you want.
Yeah.
World boss.
That's what I do.
Yeah, world boss. There you go, Tiber. There you go. You can explain more about it.
Right. And like the biggest thing that I will tell people is like, you can be a trophy collector like me. Like, I don't care. I'm retired. Like, there's nothing like, but no matter what, you have a core of units that you use every, like Dark Corvus is like, Dark Corvus, Momo, Ruel, stuff like that. Like, that should never ever change. If you're someone who's trying to catch up or someone who's trying to get better and improve, like, you don't have to feel like, oh, I need to spend 100,000 stamina and like nonstop farm these I-90s. No, like, you work on a unit, you get them to a respectable threshold where, given the gear that you have in your box, that is the best you can do for that unit. You lock it, then you move on and you build up the next unit, instead of trying to like cheat your way and like taking like, oh, I've got decent sword, I'll give to Cermia, a decent armor, I'll give to Euphine, stuff like that. Like, no. Build a unit, build a core, use that core. Look at what's the most flexible, the most versatile, build them up, and then like learn how to play them. Like, and then you can invest in the trophies. But it's just like, it's like, it's not necessarily about how much you have, it's about how smartly you use it. Is a really big thing. A lot of the best players in multiple guilds at the highest level were free to play and have always been
we'll just
relatively
throw an example out there. I mean, probably the most quote unquote free to like not free to play, but low spender. I know that's a really good player. It's probably like, I think right now I know of is Hongyi or Hongyo. Probably the best example I've known since the longest of time. We've known he was a low spender that's always been ranked up pretty high there. And it's just being very efficient with your resources. Obviously, there's a little bit of luck involved, but at the same time, I've always told people this is when you power stuff up, right? Instead of sometimes taking risks and gambles, you know when to stop, when to go, when to power stuff up, when to back off, and how picky you are. Right? That's the kind of thing. And like, that's one of the things, right? Like, Hongyo has been in a top guild since the beginning, I think. And in like season 1, season 2, we see him in Legend Arena Rush. I don't think he bothers anymore. It's just because waste of currency for him if he bothers. Because everyone's kind of... people go ham now. But it's kind of like that kind of thing, right? It's just how efficient and how smart you are with your resources. I definitely agree with that.
And one of our... And I can say this because he's retired now too, Foggy. But Sups was also like actually free to play, by the way.
Wait, Karura?
Karura, yeah. Like not even like low spender. Like not even the welcome breakup pack was bought. That like
wait. Really?
He had one of the highest win rates in the rank 1 guild season 1. Like,
okay, I did not know that. I didn't realize like Karura is full free to play. I thought it was
like So it's just like there's like the TLDR, I think, is like there's a way to play this game no matter who you are, no matter what your goal is, If just your goal is exactly, just make sure you're having fun. Make sure you're having fun. Like if you want to be competitive, you can do it free or low spending, just buy the monthlies. That's what most of the top players do right now. If you want to just have fun, have fun. Who cares if you're making the right decisions? Who cares if you're being super efficient? As long as you enjoy it. Like if you love Fireball, use it. There's no wrong way to play this game.
True.
But I think what we were trying to get at with like like personally me, like for my personal take on the stamina thing is that no matter where you want to be, there is a way to do it. It's not necessarily a systemic issue.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
I think there's definitely one thing I saw. Like, it'd be great, in my opinion, if they did the leaf. Gives you full stamina, but I think there's just too many issues with that now. And I think Smilegate, in my personal opinion, the way I see it is, no matter how much I want that, and I mean, with the weekly, I've been trying to push for ways to get stamina rather than doing the leafing, because I have a feeling for them is ever since the past issues, they're too scared to do some sort of refund like this. Because the biggest issue with this is, I don't care about getting the missing stamina I've used leaves, but there are going to be people out there that are gonna say, what about my stamina? I used this X amount of leaves, I missed this amount of stamina from leaves, give it back to me. What happens then, right? Now they're put in a tight spot. If we don't listen to these people, right?
It's the compensation. It's the people that just really wants the compensation. It was the very reason. Like, we had a previous event like this, so I'm sorry for cutting it, but
no, go for it.
It's the situation with, like, we had a past event like this, and it's known as the ML Ball and MLR nerf into the ML trade.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most controversial one, because then I think a part of the community was okay with it, and then another part was just not okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the place. Right? Compensation, to me, it's like it's hard for me to say that I don't like it, but at the same time, when I think about it in the bigger perspective, it's not always the greatest thing. Like, for a more of a long-term thing, I feel like it's so much better to think about it long-term than instead of thinking about that short-term reward.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think, like, the thing is, like as much as I want, as much as probably like a good portion of my chat right now that we're seeing in chat, people in this podcast won't care about getting their stamina back. With the way the game has been, I'll be honest here, not you guys in chat, but we know, other people in other places are now very spoiled. And they're always looking for compensation if something happens, especially something big. And they'll want to get the most out of it that they can now, I feel like, which is where that kind of, I guess where the scare is for Smilegate.
I feel like the reason why it's like that right now is because it just feels like there's such a huge scarcity in resources. And it has always felt like that, where the reason why people are complaining about, like, stamina and then gold and then, like, all these other things combined, it's always because we have a scarcity of something. Because this game is based on progression and is not immediate, that's why it's something like a compensation will help us achieve that, in a sense.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why, like, I've been, this web event is why I stress how good this web event is, because it just gives us so much resources. So rather than them, if anything, they're just giving us more resources for playing the game, being loyal to the game, doing stuff in the game. They'll give resources to play to try to kind of get a slow. I won't say it's not gonna close the gap, but it'll let you play more in that sense, I feel like. And, like, the thing is, I've had a bunch of friends recently start the game. They're new players. I'm telling them how to play. They have all the resources still there, and they're able to progress really good. But at that time, it's like, it's kind of just like how efficient you are with your resources, as we talked about. So,
right. But, like, there are people who are refreshing 100 times a day, as we had heard. And like, if you do some quick math, like 100 refreshes, 80 stamina refunded per. So you have 8,000. Let's say you played for a year, did that for a full year. You will get 2.4 million stamina back.
What?
Like, that is 8,000 times 300.
In a game where 2.4 million is actually a crazy amount, because they would be doing the refund, right? So it would actually be even more. That 2.4 would actually be worth even more due to the new cap on what that would be. Otherwise, they'd have no reason to refund it, right? So that's
like,
actually ridiculous.
Like, keep that in mind. And, like, if you are, like, someone who's, like, gearing towards a competitor, like, fix stamina so we can compare to these whales, stuff like that. they will only dramatically
Increase
because
that
keep
gap.
in mind the people who would benefit from the refund the most
Hmm.
are the whales. Keep
Yeah.
that in mind as well. So
Oh.
like, and I'm no stranger to hard caching for Leafs as well, but I don't know. It's a risky thing for Smilegate to do, which is why they've been so hesitant. And they've poured a lot. I'm sure they've poured a lot of time in it. One very interesting comment in chat that I read was that Summoner's War has been going on for a long time, and those refreshes are the full and stages cost less. And that's true, and they've survived for a very long time, and the system is great. I love Summoner's War for it. But at the same time, they have more units to gear because their Pokedex is 1,000 strong and ours is
Yeah.
150.
If Summoner's War
And
comes
you-
out with a unit, you're getting 5.
Exactly. And also, there's such a heavy emphasis on making a bunch of dupes for Guild Siege. So we have more units to gear, and also it's really hard to get an upgrade in Summoner's War compared to Epic 7. Like in Summoner's War 2, you're gonna do a bunch of runs, but your upgrades come from re-apps anyway. So like in Epic 7, it costs more to enter a stage, but you get proportionally more. More bang for your buck.
That's what I always tell people. Would you rather have your Wyvern run cost, I don't remember how much, was it 22 stamina? Right now? 22.
Yep.
And you get, let's say the range 20 something claws, whatever. Or would you rather cost 5 stamina and you get two claws or something? I don't know. Just for example,
Yeah, like it's an analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Exactly,
it's kind of like,
exactly.
I much rather burn through my stamina a lot quicker and get more of it than spend my whole day getting like 2 to 3 claws per run. And especially for like the working people who like to play this game here and there, I feel like it's more beneficial to them in itself too, right? It's like, you're on your lunch break, boom, burn through that stamina real quick, okay, you're done, kind of thing, rather than like, oh shoot, I don't have enough time to do this kind of thing. But I think there's a lot of issues in itself there that like, I mean, we can talk about this for like hours and hours, but like, because the thing is like, inherently Summoners War and Epic 7 are 2 different games too, with a lot of different things. Like, sure, we always compare it, but there's just so many different things, right? Lower unit pools, the way even units works is different. We don't, the gear stuff is different. We don't have certain gear stuff related. So like, inherently the game is different. And the thing is, I hate to put it this way, I guess, is Summoners War started with full refreshes, which is, good on them. I don't know why Epic 7 didn't or whatnot. I can't question them. I don't know what they were thinking. But the thing is, inherently, I feel like the problem now is they're worried about the backlash. Where, I'm not gonna blame chat, but for us in chat, most of us probably don't care about getting our stamina back. Most of us. But for the people that do, that's where the issue comes from. So, yeah,
It's such a delicate balance though, because you're talking, the difference that we're talking here is like the difference between game balance and culture we've set, because because the culture that Smilegate and Epic 7 sets with its people needs to reflect what's also happening in the game, and there needs to be a trust between its community to them to believe that when they do things, it's going to be for the better of the game. And I think they've been sort of playing this like back and forth between it being it's sort of like sometimes they make their own calls and they're like, nope, we're doing it. And honestly, those are the times where I'm like, yeah, good for you. Teach us why that was important. Show us why the value of that decision made sense. And then other times you get long maintenances like today, and you get like 10 leaves, 30 bookmarks, and people are like, I don't know if you guys read the comments. I'm not even talking Reddit. I'm talking the comments on OnStove, reading through just for the patch stuff today. And I was honestly like a little sickened to see that so many people were like, where's my compensation? They were wanting compensation before there was even an extended maintenance. Like, guys, and honestly, can I blame the community? No, I cannot. I can't blame the community. You can only blame the person at the top. So the person at the top has to set the culture. That's where culture is always set in any organization, any business. That's the reality. So if you say that this is what it's going to be, you have bred the culture of the people that you're going to see show up in your game. That is the reality of what it is. And so my mind, they need to hone this back in, reharness what their vision is, what they're going for, how they're trying to get there, and then also then keep their player base will just naturally follow. I think they sometimes get so afraid that like if we don't compensate, they'll leave. That's not why they're leaving. You have to look at the real reasons why people will leave. They don't care about a couple of leaves here and there. They want systemic things fixed. They're willing to take compensation as a band-aid. It's all a band-aid at the end of the day if you don't actually have like the culture and the vision of where you're going. And so that's where it gets a little bit questionable to me, I think, with like what they decide to do for compensations. Because like I remember people have said so many times to me like about nerfs and stuff. Why can't you nerf your own game? I mean, honestly, why can't you nerf your own game? You created this game. You're the ones that have the ability and hopefully the foresight of the knowledge of where you want to go with this game. Heaven forbid you have to nerf something because it doesn't work the way you want it to. You're experimenting just like the rest of us. That's crazy talk. But that's the route that they're going. And to me, that speaks fear into the culture. That to me is fear. And I don't understand why you would be so afraid of something unless you created something that was finding its like downtick. And I don't love that. And I don't love saying that, but like, that's not what this community is about. Like we're all about seeing it continually moving up, like in a positive direction. So I want to see them like stop doing this fan pandery nonsense personally, but I don't know what you guys think about that. But I do truly believe that there is a very distinct connection between that game balance and that culture that they've set, and I think that's why we see the comments that we see, and that's why we see the realities at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. I will agree with. I kind of do agree with that in the sense that, like, sometimes I feel like, well, in a sense, they're giving in a little bit too much to what just. I like there's a certain, I guess, balance of when they should be, quote unquote, bending to people, or agreeing with the community, and other points where maybe this isn't for the best. Maybe we shouldn't, do exactly what the community wants in this specific scenario here, kind of thing. But I think that's definitely a delicate part.
It's not perfect, and I can't blame them for. I mean, they're still figuring this thing out too, just like the rest of us. But as each time happens, I'm hoping that they're learning and moving forward. And so, again, when you see. Like you would have thought that the first like peak of that would have happened when Ambition broke up. That would have been the big key. Like, what are we doing? What is it that made them quit? Why? What is something here that we can do to fix this up? How do we make this what they wanted, what they needed as a top level like gameplay? Then we run into Guild Wars today, and to me, that looks like a similar like, guys, did we not learn from the last one? I'm not saying that they can't recover from this. I'm not saying that there's not a possibility of like fix, right? But are we learning from our mistakes? That's the key thing to this. Like we can all be okay with people making mistakes. It's another thing if you're not doing anything with the mistakes that you made, if that makes sense.
I will agree with that. Yeah. So much we didn't talk about this. I feel like the Guild Wars thing is definitely one thing I want to touch on, probably a little bit. Maybe it might be next week, if anything, but well, granted, we have to also go over balance next podcast. I sub next one. Hopefully, I don't forget. But
Fire Araminta, please.
Fire Araminta.
Please. Fun fact: I don't have Fire Araminta. She's one of the 3 units I do not have.
But you want a buff on her?
Buff?
Yeah, because she's waifu. Duh.
So you're hoping for a banner. I see.
Okay. Yes, I am hoping for a banner. Fire Araminta, Fireball, and Pavel.
All right.
It's unfortunate.
Buff him already.
Well, with that said, probably leave off the podcast here. Good talk tonight. Good talk. I need to make sure I do these more often. I sometimes I get distracted. I forget whatnot. But appreciate you guys joining me kind of somewhat last minute. I didn't give that early of a notice. But I appreciate all you guys. Arkadin, Tiber, and Panshui.
Yeah, so, thanks for having us, man.
With that said, I will see you guys hopefully soon in the future again. Appreciate all your thoughts and inputs too. Have a good night for you guys, and we'll see what happens with the balance patch. Peace out.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you, man. Thanks.